Hello guys, I just got this delivered and you won't believe what's inside it. It's just a 3D printer. Hello fellow hunters of blue and welcome to my channel, and also welcome to a very different place from usual. This is my workshop, this is where I go to work every single day, and we are here because the folks at Anycubic got in touch with me to see if I was interested in reviewing their new 3D printer. A free 3D printer? Oh yeah. And if I'm honest with you, they were quite strict and focused towards the kind of video that they wanted to see, and they even sent me a kind of a script for the things that they want to see on my videos, but that's not the kind of channel this is. But of course I wanted a free 3D printer, so I thought I could do something different and send them my idea. And they luckily said yes, so I have a free 3D printer and you have this video. And what was that idea? Well, it has to do with what is conveniently hidden behind me. This puppy here. For all of you that know about 3D printer, you already know what this is. This is a Formlabs Form 2 printer. And again, if you know about 3D printers, you know how much this puppy cost. I had this printer due to my work. I needed it for my work so I could explain the cost. But for all of you that don't know how much this cost me around 4,000 euros brand new. And that is about 20 times the price of this printer here. So the idea for this video was something like this. Is it really worth it? Should I save for a bit or a lot longer and invest in something like this? What do you get? Do you really get better prints with this than with this? Well, this is what we will find out. So let's pretend this isn't already printing and let's get a print cracking.
Oh, I don't like this anymore. I've tried my very best to stick around, but now it's never like before. And oh, you never hold my hand. You'd rather hold your phone or sit around and just pretend I'm out of town. Are you ready? Do you wanna know if I'm the one to be your one and only, honestly? So are you ready? You wanna know that I'm not what you need. I'm better off without you here. So are you ready? Do you wanna know how I'm not gonna be your one and only, honestly? So yeah, I'm ready, and I want you to know that you're not what I need. I'm better off without you here. So go.
We are back in our cave now, and I have with me a delicious box full of prints. Let's check them out. So, at last back into my usual self, and I have here 3 prints that I did in both printers, just to see how well they will compare with exactly the same models. These models were just ripped off of their supports, no extra processing has been done, and both were printed into the same settings, the same layer height in both printers. So these darker resin models are done with the Formlabs printer, and you can see they still have some supports here and there. And this lighter resin are the ones done with the Anycubic mono printer. So let's get a bit closer. And I'm honestly really surprised of how close these models look. There is some hint of layer lines in both of them. You can see here there is a little bit of a very faint model line, layer line that you can probably see more here on her back and on her carcass. And here you really can't see the layer lines, but you can see some hint of the pixelation caused by the 2K display, because of course this is a laser that just goes round in soft curves. But this printer is an LCD printer, so it will have pixels, and you can kind of see. And I was curious to see if those pixelations will show off once this is primed. I have one failed print. You can see her chin didn't print because I forgot to put a support there, and this was primed using a GW Grey Series spray, and you can clearly see there is absolutely no sign of those layers. It's absolutely smooth and beautiful, and I can only imagine with a 4K version of this printer this will be even better, which I really is inconceivable for me. So again, really impressed with this. I wasn't honestly expecting for this to print this well. If I had to paint one of these models, I would probably paint this one, just because there is some misprints here, some lines that aren't here. This is perfectly smooth. So again, really impressive. We have this bust here. You can see the glue because I printed his helmet apart from the rest of the body. And again, really similar print quality. There is some line here that the printer for some reason failed and goes all across the model. You can see here. I have no idea why that is there. It's easily fixable, and I think it's a problem with the slicer or some kind of thing. Maybe the model shifted a bit or the platform shifted a bit, but again, this also has problems. For example, here there is a really rough texture on the back of his backpack, which isn't here, but it is here, and this is really rough. This will be really hard to hide. So both prints have problems. And also, something really curious I found, this Aquila here is softer and has less detail than this one. This is sharper, and it's amazing because I have some lost detail here, and everything, even the thinnest lines are printing here, and that is really impressive. So this is the last of the comparison prints. This is a copy of a Disney key that my wife collects. She is a Disney collector, and there are some keys that are really hard to get, so I print them for her, and I usually sand them and paint them to look like the real keys. So you can clearly see this has some texture, as well as this has a little bit of texture there. What I found is the supports on this was all done with automatic supports. There's nothing, I may have added a couple of them, but you can see here this printer has starting to fail, and the supports are really thick and really hard to get off, while on this one the supports come off really easily and with much less effort and drama. Also, with the Formula Sprint, you can see what happens when the tank starts to fail. The Anycubic tanks had to be replaced more or less when you have printed about 2 liters of resin. I can't remember if I was finishing my second liter or starting the third, but you can clearly see there is gaps and horrible textures there. This is all because it was a very old tank. So yeah, and even if it wasn't an old tank, this texture has been there always. So this is a very faint but noticeable surface texture that I have to sand off, and this is smoother. There's also texture, so I also will have to sand it off, but this printed in about a third of the time of this. Yeah, and this was a full bed of them, because the laser printer, the more things you put in there, the longer it will take to print. But this, I can put a full plate and it will print exactly the same speed, and it was actually quite insane. So yeah, this is absolutely smooth and perfect, and it works really well. With my comparison test done, I wanted to print something that will stress the printer to what I think will be more or less the limits of what anyone will do with them. So I wanted to print something really small and with a lot of detail. So I have myself some really tiny minis. So I have now zoomed in so you can see these absolutely not space marines that I have here. And the detail in these guys is absolutely insane. You can actually see the Omega symbols on their backpacks, and everything's crisp and absolutely beautiful. And I also have here some absolutely not Imperial God, and again, the detail on these models is insane. You can actually see the Aquila printed on the side of the rifles. It's absolutely insane. And I have myself the cutest, tiniest, absolutely not saddle sword that I have ever seen. This guy is so cute, so cute, so cute. And the detail here is so good. Look at that. This is the side with all the supports. You can see I just ripped them off carelessly. And the detail on the tracks. Everything is crisp and amazing. To finish off my resin, I wanted to do something that was really a show for the limit of what this printer can do. So I printed myself Hogwarts. This model is not intended to be printed in this scale. This model is massive, and you can clearly see how thin the supports are. These arches are. Look at that. It's so thin I can move them with my finger. Same with the walls here. This is insanely thin, and it printed everything, every detail, every single detail window, everything with it. And this isn't even the only thing that failed were these arches, and they didn't really fail. I just smashed them with my fingers while I was ripping supports off. And remember, this isn't a 4K printer, so this is actually very, very impressive. I know for sure I can't print this with my Formlabs. It won't get to this level of insane detail. So which one of those is the best machine? Well, of course it's a Formlabs printer, because, well, it costs 20 times more, so it better be a better machine. So with the price in mind, you aren't getting any better print quality or any better speed. What you're paying for is not for print quality, it's for convenience. And there is a lot of convenience. I will be honest with you, I never had the need for a cheap printer. I already own a very expensive one, and it works really well for me. So this opportunity has been eye-opening for me, at least, because I honestly didn't expect much of this printer. And I always thought these cheap printers couldn't really deliver any quality compared to something that costs 20 times more. But after the first few prints, I was very pleasantly surprised. So knowing what I know now, what would I do if I was looking for a very good printer for my hobby? Well, I personally wouldn't get the Formlabs. It's extremely expensive. And once you buy that printer, you're basically tied into their ecosystem. And it's a very expensive ecosystem. For example, I just had to replace 2 tanks of resin and had to buy 1 new cartridge, and I just spent 400 euros in it. Of course, it was a very expensive resin because it's a castable resin for fine jewelry, so of course it's going to be very, very expensive. But even with that, you really need to be prepared to spend the money if you have a Formlabs printer. But with the Anycubic, you can replace almost everything there very cheaply, so that is something that you need to consider. And being for a hobby, I really cannot justify the cost of a very expensive printer, which it won't really give you any more quality or any more speed. In fact, it will be slower than what I have now, and it will deliver the same printing quality. So if I were to buy a new printer now, I will probably get an Anycubic Mono X, which has 4K resolution and a bigger printing plate. So guys, I really hope you find this useful, or at least a little bit interesting, because no one really tells you what do you get with the very expensive line of printers, and I thought this will be a very interesting comparison. So guys, if you're interested in getting a new 3D printer, go and check my affiliate links down below. There will be a link to the Anycubic page. If you click that link and you get a printer, you will be helping me in the process, and I really appreciate it. So guys, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Do you like my videos and want to help me make them? Well, there are several ways you can do that. You can follow me on social media. You have the links to all my social media in the description below. You can also check all my affiliate links in the pinned comment of this video. Use those links in your next hobby purchase and help me without any additional cost to you. I also have merch that you can see just below this video or in the shop tab of my channel. But most importantly, there is Patreon and channel members. You have the link to my Patreon in the description below. In the pinned comment of the video, or if you prefer, you can just click the join button below this video. Patreon channel members help me do all the cool projects that I want to make and help me improve the quality of my videos. Don't be afraid, no content will ever be hidden behind a paywall, but it's a nice way to help me and you will get something back for generosity. I said guys, thank you very much for watching. A special thank you to Ben Morin, Daniel Figueiredo, Heather Amstead, Lauren Sigismondi, Victor Domen, Michael Boye, Christoph Moret, Joshua Bohannon, Ryan Mann, Beldrain, Javi Mota, Kevin Sulas, Kieran O'Murthail, Renat Lindemann, Jonathan Ekelund, Dr. V, G-Force, Elric Edge, Sasha Park, JT Butler, Manuel Vilela, Josh Simpson, Dominic Trevizo, Richard Kwiatkowski, Brent Sillinger, Mark Jarvis, Gareth Smith, Bill Caswar, Matteo De Rienzo, Arundel, Natius Maximus, Samuel, Supernev, and I quit us for being the coolest persons in the planet. Be like these fine folks, join my Patreon, and take control.